channel. It's me, Janisha Stanley again, and today I'm going to review the book, Who Was Albert Einstein? This book was written by Jess Brallier and illustrated by Robert Andrew Parker. This book has 9 chapters and 105 pages, including the timeline of Albert Einstein's life and the world. Well, who is Albert Einstein? Well, Albert Einstein is a Nobel Prize winner, and he is a famous physics scientist. He developed the theory of relativity and the formula E=mc². Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879 in Germany, and he didn't speak a word until he was 3 or 4 years old. So his parents thought, maybe he'll never speak. And then he took him to the doctor and said he wouldn't talk. And then he examined the boy, and then they noticed that there was nothing wrong with him. And then whenever his parents served him hot soup, he actually said, "This soup is too hot." Surprisingly, he started speaking. It was only his nature. That's the only reason he wouldn't speak. And boys usually other boys his age always played soldier games, but Albert hated soldiers, but he could build houses with playing cards. Some of them were 14 stories high. Impressive, right? And also in school, in Germany, he always asked so many questions. In Germany schools, he mainly asked so many questions that he was being punished a lot. And then he was expelled from school. It was very painful on Albert, getting expelled from school. You wouldn't like that, would you? Even if it's a school he hated, he still didn't like it. But then he and his family moved to Italy, and then he could visit art museums and done lots of fun stuff. And he also read other scientists' theories. His brain was like, ooh, that's really nice. Then Albert went to Switzerland for his high school. And guess what? Students were supposed to be asking questions, and Albert really enjoyed it there. And guess what? His fellow classmates also called him professor because he always had so many theories. And also he has so many questions, and his teachers tried their best to answer as many questions as they could. Some of them were too tricky, but they did answer many of them. After his college, he was searching for a new job. He wanted to be a physics teacher, but instead he got a job in a patent office. Well, what is a patent office? Well, a patent office is an office where people record some inventions. If they really are new, they mark it that no one can copy it. And what he did is that he proposed a ton of new theories. Because he was thinking all the time, he forgets to comb his hair. He only buttons the first button on his shirt, and he uses money as a bookmark, but then loses the book. And also, the craziest part is that people always think that Einstein smoked an exploding cigarette. Because look at that hair! Look at how wacky it is. I've never seen any hair like that. Later, he got a job in the University of Zurich, Switzerland. And there, he made the theory of relativity. Well, what is the theory of relativity? Do you know what it is? Well, I am going to tell you an example. Well, so for instance, you're sitting in your backyard watching an airplane fly in the sky. It seems like it is not going very fast. But you're standing right near that exact same airplane, in a split second, blam, boom, gone. But if you're sitting inside that exact airplane, it feels like it's moving at only 5 miles an hour. Well, that's relativity. Well, relativity is meaning that an object's movement is different upon how it's being viewed. And also, he invented the formula E=mc². That's as easy as 2 + 2 = 4. Well, can I tell you what the letters mean? Okay, so energy is the E, and then M is mass. C is the speed of light. And do you know what it's trying to say? Just if a small bit of mass was changed into just a tiny bit of energy, the amount of energy that is produced is massive. So everything on the planet, from a tiny grain of sand to a huge mountain, everything has energy. It took Einstein a lot of think time to think. He's like, does light go straight or can it curve? So here's one of his thoughts, an Einstein thought. So you're 8 years old, shining a flashlight into the sky. 10 years later, you're 18, plucking the veggies. Then suddenly, that same light smacks you back in the eyes. Surprise! And then in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, and guess what? He hated Jews. He blamed all of Germany's problems on the Jews. And then finally, the Nazis broke into his house, and then they were searching the house to find Einstein. They couldn't find Einstein, but they could find a bread knife, and then he was declared as a spy. So then, after they found the knife, they're like, maybe Einstein is planning to take down some of our soldiers by throwing this knife at them, and it'll stab them and kill them. We should get him hanged up before he does any trouble. But good thing he was in the US. But imagine if he was in Germany. He could have been spotted and hanged. So he decided to stay in the US. Then he got a job as a mathematics professor in Princeton, New Jersey. So in World War II, Germany was winning. So Einstein was very afraid that Hitler would develop a nuclear bomb. So he wrote a letter to President FDR to develop an atomic bomb before Hitler could develop a bomb. So then they got to work, started making one, and two to be specific, and then they dropped them on 2 Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And then they ceased to exist. But then suddenly Japan surrendered, and then the side Einstein was on won. Later, he started working on a theory called unified field theory, but unfortunately, he was unable to finish it. He could never finish it. And then he wrote a will. Because his health was becoming very poor, he said that all of his scientific papers have to be given to Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Israel. His brain was donated to scientists, then his body was to be cremated, and his ashes had to be thrown in some unknown area. And then this was done. On April 17th, 1955, Einstein asked for his eyeglasses, a pen, and some paper. He still had just a bit more thinking to do. And then the very next day, he died with a sheet of equations next to him. After Albert's death, the scientific community mourned the loss of a great and original mind. And all people mourned the loss of a unique, peace-loving man. Perhaps Albert said it best, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. But as a friend said of Albert, he was the freest man I have ever known. Oh, and I want to tell you one very crazy fact. He was also invited to be the second president of Israel, but he said he wasn't good enough for politics. Everyone, go and read this wonderful book to learn more about Albert Einstein, an amazing physics scientist and the man behind atomic bombs. Friends, thanks for watching my videos. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned in on my new videos. I'll fly over to my next video. See you there.